let's look at how to use the admin menu. Right off the bat, you can see a lot of information is provided for you, but we're going to show you how to cut down some of this. Up at the top, you'll see there's a blue How To button. The How To button takes you to our documentation. So if you ever have a question or you want to know how something works, it's a good idea to just click the blue How To button and it'll take you to the documentation page. You can also view our YouTube videos by clicking the Videos button. Now below that, we have a graph of your revenues versus your expenses. The revenues in green, the expenses are in red. And it gives you for 3 months, the current month and then 2 previous months. Below that is your cash balance. This is how much cash you have in the system. And to the right of that is the number of invoices that have an unpaid balance. So here you can see I have 19 customer invoices and they owe a total of $5,909.19. Now, to the right of that is the weather. It's just a quick, brief weather forecast. So if you're going to do some concrete work or something like that, you can plan your day. You can hide this information by clicking the Hide Stats button. So what this allows you to do is to focus on the options that you use all day long. You can also customize this menu, but we'll do that in a different video. We're trying to keep the time down here. Below there are the messages that you receive from customers and from the system from time to time. It's important that you check them out because there may be some action that's required on your part. Just click on them and it'll show you. For example, here we have I ran trial billing and it tells me that my billing amount, the total on the invoice, was negative, so I can't bill that person. Okay, let's return to the menu. Now below that is a jump table, and what that's for is in case you open up these options and it extends beyond the visible part of the screen, you can click on the link here and it will bring the part of the screen that you're looking for in view. So let's explore some of these options. Task Manager is where you communicate with your customers and your pool techs, and this is also where you schedule jobs and things of that nature. So first option in here is to find my crews, and what that does is it asks you for a route. When you click on the route, it will go out and it'll build a map that has the location of the customer. The customer is here in red, and if you built in the time information, it will tell you how many hours, minutes you're early, late, or on time. It also shows a green pin, and that's a GPS location of where the pool tech currently is. So you can see he's headed toward the customer address. You'll notice that it created the map in a separate window, so I just simply close that tab to get back to the admin screen. You can also get requests for services from your customers, and you can schedule them through here. We call them service requests, and if you click on unscheduled service requests, for example, there's a schedule button that you can use to schedule a service request, or you can create a work order from a customer's request for service. We will look at each one of those operations separately, so I'm not going into great detail here just to save time. Okay, again, you can do quotes, you can do work orders, you can send email to your customers, you can send a welcome message to your customers, and so on. The accounts option is where you create a login account for customers and your employees. You also, for customers, will define all the billing information inside the customer account. Pools is where you put all the service information about a pool. And you can pull up a pool here and just take a quick peek at it, and you see the days of the week, the address of the pool here, and below that the service frequency and when the next service date's going to be, and so on and so forth. Go back to my list. I can go back to the menu, close the option. Financials is where you do all things financial. You can look at your chart of accounts. You can look at the balances of each one of your accounts. HydroScribe has a full accounting system built in. We have tons of reports. You just click on reports and select a report. The reports are in groups. You'll notice you have financial reports, you have billing reports, reports for inventory, parts, chemicals, and reports regarding pools, vendors, and customers' accounts. You can print a report once it shows up on the screen. Just going to go back to the menu real quickly. Routes is where you define your routes. Invoices, everything having to do with invoices is within invoices. So you can look at unpaid bills that your customers have. So here, for example, is a list that shows me how much is remaining on an invoice. So the amount that was billed here, for example, is $111.80, and as you can see, no payment has been made. Some of these have payments made against them. The billed amount was $208. The owed amount is $158. So there was an amount owed on this, and you can see the customer's balance. So you have lots of useful information. Of course, you can look at the invoice at any time by simply clicking on it. So that's my invoice. Let's go back to the menu. So you can look at invoices. You can bill your customers from here manually. You can also set up automatic billing, and you can do that from below here. Let's schedule automatic billing. You can also set up manual multi-date billing. That's where you want to manually bill customers, but you want to bill them at different times of the month. You can set it up through here. You can run what we call trial billing. In other words, you want to see what a customer's bill is going to look like. You can just do a trial bill, and it won't affect the actual numbers out there or the customer's account. You can also, if you bill a customer and realize there's an error on their invoice and you want to go fix the error, you can actually unbill them. You just come on the undo section and undo the customer's invoice, or you can undo an entire batch of invoices by clicking the undo last invoices option. So we give you lots of ways of handling invoices. Inventory is where you define your parts and your chemical inventory, and this will allow your pool techs to be able to pull parts and chemicals as they service pools. Now you can track inventory on a truck by truck basis, or you can set up inventory as if it's in one storeroom. It's up to you. The vendors section, which is underneath inventory, is distributed in the places where you actually need to use vendors, so you don't have to come into the vendors section. For example, if you go into financials, you have access to the vendors, and if you go into inventory, you have access to vendors as well. Preferences is where we do all the settings for the system. So we have system settings. That's where you define things like your time zone, and if you have an off season, and whether you want customers to be able to see all their photos. Set up message phones that can receive text messages from the system. That's where you would set them up. Financial settings is where you put in like your sales tax, and whether you bill for parts used in regular cleanings. Like if you install a skimmer basket, do you charge the customer for that, or is that included in your monthly service fee? Chemical settings is where you set up the settings for your inventory, and QuickBooks settings is where you tell it which accounts within QuickBooks you actually use. The names have to be exactly the way they appear in QuickBooks, so that there's no problem with QuickBooks when you try to move information over. Okay, so beneath preferences are tools. Tools is where we give you lots of different ways to define lists and to customize things. For example, you can customize the customer menu so that they only have access to certain things on that menu. We'll cover all of those in a separate video, so we're not going to go into details here, but I just wanted to show that to you. Below you have company operations. You can define things for the company wide, like charge codes, set up late fee policies, assign late fee policies, and things of that nature. And of course, you have all your QuickBooks export operations here. You can also export any of different information from within HydroScribe to a spreadsheet. Okay, just click on it really quickly so you can see you can export customers, your pools, income, bills and expenses, employee pay, all kinds of information, parts, chemicals sold, things of that nature. They can all be exported to a spreadsheet just in case you need to look at that. Underneath tools is the support section, and this is where you can look at our training classes that we offer. They're all free, and each member of your staff can get training that's tailored to their job function. So the training that we give for pool techs is just for pool techs. We can train the office staff on how to do the financials. We have a billing and financials class. We have lots of classes. Just go to our website, hydroscribe.com, and click on the training tab, and you can see the training for the month. You can also purchase our turnkey setup in case you want us to set up HydroScribe for you. So you can do it right from here, or you can do it at the time you sign up for a trial. Okay, well, that's your basic overview of the admin menu. We'll look into further options within some of these that you see on the screen here in later videos.